Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight, we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question, if Nick can't download it, does it actually exist? Yes. Yes.
Oh, it's close.
It does.
Close.
I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me this episode, Ciaran Marchant.
Hey, what's going on? I've actually watched stuff this week, so I'm excited for the show.
That's a plus. And joining us also, Dylan Blight.
In case anyone doesn't get that joke, it's because our own Nicholas Pry is unable to download Shudder, but no one else can. But I also just think that Nick's got a VPN on at all stages, and he doesn't even realise. So just putting that out there. That's secretly what's happening.
Yep. So we got a good episode this week, hopefully. We'll be talking about...
Hopefully.
We'll be talking about what's in our watch history. We'll be talking about a little bit of news. We'll be talking about the movie that we ended up watching, Akira. So let's jump into it. Dylan, you ventured out to the cinemas again. You watched the latest Russell Crowe film, Unhinged. What's Unhinged and what do you think?
Before we start, I just want to note that you can go to the cinema, right?
I can. Haven't yet. Haven't had time.
Because I know the week you do, it won't be Dylan, you've ventured out to the cinema. Because every time it's happened, it's like, oh, Dylan's gone on his merry little journey.
I mean,
to the cinema.
It's much safer in Tasmania than it is up here at the moment.
For most places, yeah.
We got another case back because someone came. Would you believe, as a side note, right? Someone was sick and they had to go to Melbourne to get treatment. I don't know what they were sick with. Obviously, it was big enough they had to travel overseas, right? So they go to the
overseas.
Overseas. Do you mean
it's a literal,
go to mainland? Just go to the mainland.
It's a literal overseas, right? Literally.
No, it's a single sea. It's a single sea. You don't cross multiple of them.
Okay, well, what is a singular sea? Like, what do you count as?
You travel it to the mainland, or you say you travelled overseas.
Okay,
travelled over the Tasman Sea.
They had to travel overseas to Melbourne to get treatment for something, right? But then they went there for one thing, and then they came back here, and what they bring back with them? COVID-19.
Generous.
I don't know what they had, but they may have just been better. No, I'm going to say
that. You better say they may have been better off just staying in Tassie.
In Melbourne, I was going to say. Yeah, so Russell Crowe, Unhinged. So this movie is it's pretty good. I can't remember what I gave it. What did I give it? Like a 6, something like that.
6. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can explosionhour.com for my full review. 6 out of 10. I think that's pretty good for this type of movie and what it is, because this movie is basically a straight to DVD, or if you're young, a straight to iTunes, VOD, whatever you call it, movie or script that's been carried by Russell Crowe giving a quite good villainous performance. Because the setup is literally woman and child driving, running late. She gets on the highway. The kid's like, oh, you're going to make me late for school. Then I get detention. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And then she's late for work. And then someone rings up and fires her from her job and all these sorts of things. So she's not having a great day. So then she gets stuck behind Russell Crowe's character in traffic. And the light goes green. He sits, goes orange, goes red. She's like, oh, you fucking asshole. So then she beeps her horn, overtakes him. He goes, because he's a psychopath. He then follows her, pulls up beside, and goes on a whole rant about giving a light tap and asks for her to apologize, for which she refuses. So from that point on, the rest of the movie is Russell Crowe's character absolutely just terrorizing our main character and her child as they go about their day and they try to survive, which you may think would run out pretty thin, but the plot... the movie is only 90 minutes long, and I think you take like 15 minutes out for the opening and blah, 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 blah. And it kind of rickrollicks along from that point. And it is literally just carried by Russell Crowe just being absolutely evil. Like, he really sells the role, which is kind of ridiculous to a point. But he really sells it because he's a big dude at the moment. And I'm not saying that in like an offensive way, but he did that TV show for Stan where he played, not Murdoch, but the guy who used to run Fox News, and then he died. Who was also in Remember that? Was that Margot Robbie movie last year? The news one. What the fuck was that called?
Bombshell.
No, Bombshell. You know, yeah. So you know who? What's his face played in that with all the makeup and effects.
John
and
Lithgow.
Whatever. Yeah. So Russell Crowe did a series where he played whatever that person's name is. So I'm forgetting.
Roger Ayers.
And yeah, that's it. And he was
Or Ailes.
very big for that.
Roger
Ailes, I
I
think.
think it's
Yeah.
Ailes. Yeah.
So he was very big for that, and I assume this was filmed around the same time because he's just a big dude and he's scary. Like he's a big, mean dude who, like, the most unbelievable part of this movie is spoilers. The one time and first time that he punches this woman, you go, well, she's dead because it sounds like she's dead. And the way she kind of hits the ground, you're like, she's dead. And then she manages to get back up. I'm like, wow, that's a fire burning in her soul to keep her alive right now to protect her son or whatever. So it's quite good. But yeah, I mean, maybe if there was like a whole bunch else at the time, it would be, this movie would be less impressive. Maybe I liked it more because it's like something new in the cinemas. I don't know. But like, yeah, it's like there's not much out at the moment. So there's no reason for you not thriller.
Is it
Yeah,
thriller?
thriller.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a horror movie. There's like one moment of gore in the whole movie, and it's a good one if you appreciate a good gore effect. But other than that, it's just a thriller where this guy's just terrorizing her or like doing things to scare her and whatever else. Like it's lots of calling her on the phone and being like, "I'll fucking kill your family," and like that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Ciaran, you and me both watched the new Amazon Prime series Alex Rider, based on the Anthony Horowitz series of books, which came out 2000. I think the first one came out.
Stormbreaker.
Yep.
Stormbreaker was the first one.
Stormbreaker was the first one. They adapted the second book for this series because Point Blank because they've ruined the first book with that Alex Pettifer movie.
They did, correct.
So
the first Alex Pettifer movie that ruined something for me.
So I'm assuming you're a fan of the books if you're so eager to check this out.
I really enjoyed the books growing up. This was a set, and yeah, when that original Stormbreaker movie came out, Alex Pettifer did that one, and I Am Number 4, around about kind of reasonably in the same couple of years,
Yes.
and ruined both like really good series for me, and I was just like, never thought we'd see it again. So it was really nice to see this adaptation be brought to Amazon Prime as in more of a TV show format, as well as adapting the second book in the series to be more the first installment.
Yes.
So kind of bringing the elements that make it important for the first book into the second. And I think, you know what? After coming off Artemis Fowl, like this is like...
After that destroyed your child, destroyed your love for that.
Yeah, very much so. After it destroyed that kind of good memory for me, I went into this one not really having much expectation, and I think they did a really good job of it. I thought the lead actor who played Alex Rider did a fantastic job in that lead position. I thought he was very good. They managed to take out a lot of... Yes, yep. They managed to take out a lot of kind of the almost zaniness that there is in the original Horowitz books, where there's, you know, more James Bond style gadgets for a teenager and stuff like that, but they remove a lot of that, and they do a good job of keeping him to be, you know, beyond his expectations of what his abilities are. He's great at parkour, at climbing, at like he's really smart, he's intuitive, but at the same time they still manage to keep him as being a teenager. Like he's not perfect, he's very much a teenager and has teenage issues. And I think it's really good. I think it's a really solid opening 8 or 9 episodes.
Yeah, I also read the books back in the day, back in the early 2000s, when they were actually coming out. Yeah, I liked it as well. I don't think it's not like a fantastic watch kind of series.
Yes,
it is
correct.
very probably B-movie-esque, I guess, to a good degree.
Yeah.
Like there's some cheesy moments in this series, like one where he's getting hunted by a bunch of bullies in the forest, and he's hiding under some leaves. Ridiculously.
He was a ninja. Like those skills are just so good.
But yeah, I thought Otto did a great job as the lead. Really, really likable and charismatic lead. Even though playing that kind of rich kid douche persona for certain elements of the story. It does go a bit wacky towards the end of the film, where that's a given the source material and where that goes.
Yeah, the books kind of do that as well. And I think it's kind of hard where it grounds a lot of the stuff that is, like, makes it in the modern times, but then it's like, but we've still got this wacky kind of outcome to get to, so I think they did an okay job.
Yeah,
of
they've
kind of finding the
updated
middle
some kind
ground.
of things. I think, like, the first thing is, like, someone dies due to a hologram in the elevator. I can't remember if that was the initial. I would think that's like a modern-esque take on things. Yeah, it's super enjoyable. I suspect you'll get a second season, so
It will. Small pet peeve for me, and I don't know why. It's always a pet peeve. Changing his surname from Ryder with a Y to Ryder with an I.
Wasn't it always an I?
No, it's with a Y, I swear. I swear the original's with a Y, right? Get to Google. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Is my childhood a lie?
A lie, yeah. Unless it was different in the UK.
No, it's okay. I am very wrong.
It was definitely
okay.
Maybe it was in the
I swear I remember it with a Y, but that's fine. That's what I will admit.
I's and Y's. They look very similar on the printed text.
Okay, but still, I think if you've read the books, I think this is definitely something. And I think I just found it more enjoyable because of the low bar that has been set for book adaptations in general.
For children,
I think it's
book adaptations from like the mid-2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
How much did you remember of the books? Because I read all of the books and I can't remember fucking anything.
I remember the basic premise of this book. I was like, all right, I remember asylum, hotel, school thing in the middle of the snow.
Yes.
And I'm like,
all I can remember is
that
the
bit.
setup, like the first book, like why and how he becomes a
because
which is still
that's
very much the same.
Yeah. So they pull that part out of the first book. And then instead of him doing something with computers or something, I can't remember, which was the Stormbreaker story, they sent him off to a boarding school, which makes more sense, really, as like the first case and why they would recruit a young school-age student. I can't remember if his best friend was like invented for this series or not. I feel like
the best friend, Jack, his kind of caretaker, she's very much in the books.
Yes.
I can't remember her knowing that much in the books. I can't remember her being kind of instantly like, I know everything that's going on, I'm able to work it out. But his best friend didn't exist. His best friend at several points slightly annoyed me because he did some kind of
dumb stuff,
zany
he's
kind
like
of stupid
the
thing.
stupid best friends, you know?
Yeah.
From any of those spy kind of movies, you know the stupid best friend who makes a mistake that gets the bad guys, gives them their opening to figure everything out.
Also, biggest douchebag move, like just later, where he's just not understanding of what this kid's just been through, even though he knows pretty much everything. He's still like, you don't get to be down and depressed about this. It's like, what the hell?
I got held up as well. Sure, you went through this massive ordeal, but for 10 minutes, my life was in danger.
In 10 minutes, where in a position that I got myself into.
Yep. And yeah, they also like sprinkle in some future stuff that I don't think was in the original novels, like from the future books, setting up different factions and that kind of thing. So yeah, really, it's like only 8 episodes. They're about an hour each, so it's an easy weekend
great
watch.
Soundtrack.
Good soundtrack.
Just a really good soundtrack. Really solid one.
Cool. So we hinted at it before, but the horror streaming service Shudder has been made available in Australia. Admittedly, they said it's a slow rollout, so maybe, possibly, not everyone can get access to it straight away. But Dylan, you checked out a couple of films available on Shudder. You checked out Host, which got a bunch of... I've seen it pop up on social media a whole bunch during this quarantine. What's Host? What'd you think? Is it an adaptation of the South Korean film though? Another adaptation of the South Korean film? No. Okay.
So Host, full review on the site, gave it 8 out of 10. It's a very short horror movie, but it's basically all built under the, like, if you ever seen or heard of that movie Unfriended, this is shot in a similar sort of fashion where it's all through webcams, either on people's laptops or on their phones.
Like Searching. I think that was the one, the John Chu movie.
Even that. Yeah, that as well. Yeah, that was quite good actually. But the glue, because that Searching, it always just has a camera when he's like searching on his laptop or like googling stuff on his phone, and they like bring up the web browsers in the movie so you can see what he's searching and whatever at the same time. That's how that works. This one is all told as if it's capturing a Zoom call. So the movie starts and the main character's setting up the Zoom call, and then you see her slowly invite all these friends into the Zoom call. And then what they're all getting together to do is, because the movie's set during COVID-19, it was filmed during COVID-19. The actresses and actors in this movie never met the director. They all just filmed it in their own homes and everything like that, which is a really cool thing, I think. And then they all get together and they're going to do an online seance. So then they invite in this older lady who's playing the woman doing the seance. And more or less, you know, of course it's a horror movie, so things go wrong, because that's what always happens in horror movies when you do seances. And then they start getting haunted one by one, kind of in different sorts of ways. And these things, obviously it starts very simple with, things moving or a bang on the door or whatever. And then it builds up from there to a quite a climactic finish, given how kind of slow the movie starts at the beginning. But it's only 57 minutes or whatever it is, and I don't want to spoil it too much, because I actually think everyone should watch it, because it's short. If you like horror movies, there's obviously not much coming out. This one's great, and also I think watching this at the moment, like while we're all still, like, people are still in lockdown or whatever, you're kind of watching it now's the time that you watch it for the perfect effect. And it's a weird case where I actually suggest people watch the movie on their laptop, because if you watch it on your laptop or something, because the movie looks like a Zoom call, you're just going to be watching a Zoom call, and that I think that adds to the added effect of the movie. But like they do some really cool and interesting things with the setting and technology that they're using, including making sure to include the fact that Zooms you can only have a 40-minute call before it times you out, and you have to all jump out and get into another one. Like they make sure everything plays in realistically to the boundaries they kind of set themselves for the way the movie's being set up. And I really enjoyed it. Like it's short, it's sweet, it's fucking like in out. The only people I wouldn't suggest this for is if you didn't like Paranormal Activity, if you didn't like Blair Witch Project, if you didn't like Searching, if you didn't like Unfriended, like if you don't like if you laugh at these sorts of horror movies and think the found footage type style stuff is stupid, then you're still not going to like this one. I don't think it does enough to kind of break the mold to bring in new people. But if you're someone who did enjoy Paranormal Activity like I did, and likes Blair Witch like I do, and I really like Searching as well, and whatever else, so it's like if you're on board, if you're willing to accept the setting and join in the roller coaster, it's a really good fun ride.
Cool. Then you also checked out the 2017 horror film Mayhem, starring Steven Yeun. What did you think of that one, or what's that one about?
I didn't like this one. So I remember watching the trailer for this one a couple of years ago when it was originally coming out, and I thought it looked really cool, but I didn't like it. The premise is interesting, and the trailer definitely makes it look a lot better than what it is. The premise is basically there's a virus that someone makes that gets released into the world at some point, and basically it makes you go super angry, or they even explain if the worst part of you make you super horny, and I don't know, it just brings out the most out there emotions or whatever. And they explain there was a court case where someone killed someone when this drug accidentally got let loose, and they murdered someone, but because of the drug they got off the court case. So anyway, the movie, Stephen and who else who's the chick in it? I forget her name now. Do you have the IMDb open? The main
Samara
female
Weaving.
Yeah, that's it. So those two are in this building. Stephen works there. Samara is there visiting to see her lawyer, and Stephen's a lawyer. And what happens is the drug, for whatever reason, gets released inside this compound, and the cops all lock it down from the outside. But then Stephen's character whoever he plays. I don't remember the character's name. He wants revenge on his bosses. So basically, the setup is because they know legally they can't get in trouble for killing people. He's gonna fight his way upstairs to get revenge on his bosses who have done all these evil things to him. And the trailer made it seem like it was going to be a much more like frantic, violent, like super high intense film. But in reality, there's only like a couple fight scenes in the movie and they're not very good. So, and the rest of it's actually kind of slow moving. And like, I wouldn't even suggest this as, oh, watch this because the kills are like quite funny and gory or whatever. Like, it doesn't even have that. Like, I didn't like this one particularly at all, to be honest.
Cool. So what are you thinking of Shudder so far? What are your initial opinions of the service? What is it?
$6 a month or something like that.
$6 a month?
$6 or $7 a month.
Seem like
it's only worth it for horror movie fans. So I guess that's like that even rules out a certain bunch of people. Like this thing is a very niche streaming service compared to something like Netflix or Stan or Amazon. Like all of these other streaming services are trying to cater to heaps of audiences, and like they're all fighting for the general audience pot. Whereas Shudder, I don't think is even in the conversation because it's over here just like we have scary movies, horror movies, thrillers, both original and a small selection of like older horror movies and whatnot. Like they've got weird ones. Like they don't have like Halloween 1, 2 or whatever, like the ones where they got rights, but they got like Halloween 3, 4, 5, like the B movie ones, like which some people are gonna love. They do have they're starting to build up their selection of original material though. Obviously the two I just talked about are Shudder exclusives. And Shudder is a AMC like shoot off of some sort, so I guess that's where the money for this sort of stuff is coming from. I'm definitely keen to check out more of the original stuff. There are some movies on here that I've wanted to watch for a while, like I know like Goodnight Mummy's on there and I haven't watched that, so I can finally watch that, and there's a few others like that on there. And in general there's some great movies on there that are like The Visit's on there, The Guest is on there, that's a great horror movie, and there's a few other that kind of stand out. But I guess it's like, will I unsubscribe after a month when I've kind of had my fill? I don't know. Like if they're bringing in at least one horror, like original horror movie a month kind of thing, then I would say I would probably just keep paying $6 because then I'm like $6, one movie a month. Like as long as I'm watching it, that's the price of rent, like a new release rental. So, or else I'd kind of opt in and opt out. But yeah, it's a very niche thing. So it's either going to hit its audience or not. So I can't say if it's good or great yet. I'll have to see what they do like a month or so from now, I'd say.
How does it compare to the almighty Quibi?
It plays on my TV, so at launch, so it wins that fight, I think, by a bit of a mile. Oh, the other interesting thing is it didn't have this on the web browser because originally I was watching all this stuff through the web browser because the apps weren't out first. But then when I installed the apps on stuff, it has this like, I guess you could call it a live TV thing, like. Which is another thing that kind of helps it stand out. Do you have the official wording for it there? I don't know if they call it
it's
something. It's
Shudder TV, a constant stream of killer content. So yeah, like a 24/7 streaming rotation of stuff.
Yeah, which is kind of cool because like when I installed it on my TV, that's the first thing it comes up with is Shudder TV, and it had a movie like halfway through. But obviously, if you sit there and you're watching a movie that's halfway through for 5 minutes, you're like, oh, this looks interesting. You can then, of course, just go start the movie from the beginning because it's part of Shudder's collection of movies. So I think that's a unique thing for this. It's kind of a cool idea because it may lead some people to just having it on in the background more and watching more that way kind of thing. So definitely stands out.
Yeah, so you can get a free week trial, I believe, once you get the app working. Nick, I think the slate is kind of small. Obviously, it feels like there's obviously a lot of rights here in Australia that they aren't able to get the licenses for a bunch of stuff.
One of the key ones they advertise on like banners and stuff is actually the Wolf Creek series, which is on Stan here in Australia, for example, which is kind of funny.
So, but there's some interesting stuff on here. There's a bunch of documentary series from the AMC that
I'm gonna watch. I've got all of those in my queue already.
yeah, that would be interesting to watch. There's one with Eli Roth covering the history of horror, one with James Cameron covering the history of science fiction, and one with Robert Kirkman discussing comics. There's also that Japanese budget horror comedy movie, One Dead to a Camera or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I put that in my list as well.
That's and some other smaller stuff like Wormwood's on this, the Australian zombie horror movie. So there's some interesting stuff, and they're obviously adding new stuff all the time. So yeah,
I'd say my other quick thing of note that I noticed was, although it's advertised as horror, and primarily it is all horror stuff, but then you can kind of break it down and go like full on horror movies. Then there's stuff that's just solely thrillers, and then they actually have a few things that aren't even horror at all. They're like sci-fi. Like without horror elements. So I guess maybe they're trying to branch out a little bit more and be like just cover that really niche, like horror sci-fi and thriller, whatever, the kind of stuff that the magazines would cover. I can't remember. There's one magazine that literally covers those three key things,
like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Or horror now. No.
Yeah.
Something like
that.
But
they all include horror and sci-fi as part of the
same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Practical effects.
Yes, basically.
Yeah. So I checked out the Harley Quinn animated series that
Did you say Harley Quinn?
Harley Quinn animated series. I finally saw that the first season had gone up on Amazon Prime. A series following again Harley Quinn, played by Kelly Cuoco. Originally came out on the DC Universe streaming service.
Yep.
That may or may
that was
not
going to be my
thing.
first question, if you want to answer that now quickly. Why is this on Amazon? Because I didn't know this either.
I don't know. I finished watching Alex Rider, and the ad for Harley Quinn was up on the banner. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll watch that. Yes, it is great. It strikes like the perfect tone for Harley Quinn. I would argue it could possibly be the best version of Harley Quinn. Going in, I wasn't expecting much because I didn't think Kelly Cuoco could do Harley Quinn. I didn't think her voice was right. But by the end of the series, I think she nails it. Obviously, it is very different to Margot Robbie's version of Harley Quinn, or even the animated series version. It's quite different, but it's still got that zany quality. Very much the series focuses on her trying to pick up her life after she breaks up with the Joker in the first episode, and is trying to prove herself in Gotham as one of the top supervillains. Get cameos from a bunch of different supervillains. But yeah, it's going for a much funnier tone than probably even the Birds of Prey movies and all the other stuff is going for. It's not like Deadpool-esque wacky, where he pulls out stuff from somewhere or breaking the third wall kind of stuff. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. Kite Man features prominently as like Poison Ivy's love interest. And anytime Bane shows up is hilarious because, if he gets upset with something, he just wants to blow it up. It's like, that guy wrote my name wrong on the coffee cup. I need to blow up the whole restaurant. That kind of stuff. It's a good time.
Classic.
In the Bane voice. It sounds better in the Bane voice. Classic.
First we come for the coffee, then we die.
Yeah. But yeah, that's great. Also, King Shark's in this as well, voiced by Ron Funches, and his Ron Funches is one of those voices that is perfect for animation. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. Harley Quinn, Amazon Prime, Season 1, even though Season 2 is currently out in America on DC Universe and HBO Max, I believe. So yeah. All right, Dylan, you can take a break. I know you've been busting to go to the bathroom. Now's your opportunity, because we're going to be talking about some anime.
And everyone else.
Please!
I was just searching on my phone because before you go, it was really doing my head in, and I couldn't remember who voices Harley Quinn in the animated series. It's Tara Strong, in case anyone else was wondering.
feel like there's someone else who does the voice of Harley Quinn, but anyway.
What? That's the one. That's who voices it in the Arkham series and everything. Come on, don't.
No,
You know.
Arlene Sorkin was the originator of Harley Quinn in
Boom.
the original animated series. So
Okay.
there. All right.
Well, I was trying to think of the one from Arkham.
Yeah. Okay. But Ciaran, you've been watching a bunch of anime. What anime do you want to talk
Yeah, I have a
about?
couple of series. I've decided I've new leaf where I'm like, man, I just want to watch more anime that is currently being, serialized or currently being brought out. So I find it a lot easier to consume week by week. I don't know why. But so started with the anime called The Misfit of Demon King Academy. It's an anime about a demon lord or demon king from 2,000 years ago that died and has now been resurrected and is kind of growing up in this world. And the greatest thing about this anime is that it's totally okay with the fact that its protagonist is just overpowered, and it just does, like, he throws a school at somebody at one point and like resurrects another person just so he could kill them again because he can, because he's this demon king. But even just with that knowledge of him being overpowered, I still think they do a fantastic job of building the character up, making him so he's not just an arrogant douchebag about how good he is with his powers. He's actually a really interesting character. He's got decent layers, and the people around him coming together and the characters, I think it's really enjoyable. And it's only 6 episodes in, so it's easy to catch up on. I think all the series, the first 2 series I'm talking about. And then, the other thing, the normal series that I'm watching, as Dylan and Ash both know, that, I'm not a slice of life lover. I don't appreciate slice of life. When we did Studio Ghibli, The Animated Wonders, we,
Rip.
I always had a bit of, go check that out. The series is finished. You can watch it. You can listen to it all now. But anything that was slice of life, I judged differently, or might have been a little bit harder. But I've started to watch my first proper slice of life kind of anime, which is called Rent-A-Girlfriend, which sounds terrible when it's called Rent-A-Girlfriend, but it's about a college student who, after a messy breakup, goes into like this Japanese Rent-A-Girlfriend plan where you can pay somebody to be your girlfriend, and it's more wholesome. It's interesting, the two characters' kind of connection and how they kind of get involved with each other's lives through uncanny circumstance and lies and mistakes and whoopsie-daisies. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really fun. It's really sweet. It's something completely different to everything else I watch, which is fun. And then the other thing I'm catching up on is ReZero. ReZero Season 2 has just come out, which is an isekai series. But I'm watching, for anybody who hasn't watched ReZero before, the director's cut was released shortly before the Season 2. And that is... I'm finding it much better because instead of the 20-something episodes to watch, there's only like 11 episodes because they have kind of edited and cut together multiple episodes. So each episode is about 50 minutes long instead of your normal 20 minutes. So you get a lot more in each episode. It's a lot easier to watch to kind of catch up to Season 2, which has got 3 or 4 episodes out currently. So I'm expecting to jump into more and more anime as we go. So hopefully there'll be more and more for me to talk about to give Dylan more and more time to go to the toilet and stuff during podcast recordings.
Yeah, that'd be good for him. Also checked out, I finally caught back up. I started a while ago, but I finally finished the first season of Konosuba. God's blessing on this wonderful world. It's an interesting series. Follows a young man who dies, meets a god in the afterlife, and is offered the chance to go to a MMO-like world to try to defeat the demon king who's ruling over the world, and defeat him in order to get a wish, like whatever his heart desires as reward. He can take anything with him, and he, being a smartass, decides to take the god, who's like a who's pretty much like a teenage girl, with him to this new world. Hijinks ensue. It's enjoyable. The fan service is like crazy in the series. Like it feels super awkward to watch at times. But it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's some good jokes. Like, it's not awkward creepy. It's like funny creepy, I guess.
Okay. Which I think is very common. And it's an interesting
Yes.
thing in anime where I think I read an article last week about things happening in Japanese anime. I'm like, well, this is not an issue with just this one anime or just this one Japanese video game. It's like, this happens in Japanese culture and it's a problem.
Yes.
But, it's just, it'll get worked out somehow eventually.
Yep. All right, so let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. I watched season 2 of The Umbrella Academy that dropped on Netflix. I guess slight spoilers for season 1 of The Umbrella Academy, but at the end of that season, they accidentally caused the apocalypse, but, number 5, who's an old man but trapped in the body of a little boy, time travels them all back to the 1960s in Dallas, Texas, but he's not good at it, so he accidentally splits them up over several years, and that is kind of the jumping on point for this season. I guess I'll spoil like the first 5 minutes. They all get dropped off, and then 5 is the last one to get stopped in the 1960s, and he arrives like a few days after the Kennedy assassination was meant to take place, and World War III is currently happening, and another apocalypse happens. And then, much like the first season, someone comes in and tells him he's going to be sent back in time a few days to stop the apocalypse. So, in a way, it kind of replays the first season in a new setting, except this time, all the family in the Umbrella Academy actually like each other. So it plays a little bit different. This time when they see each other for the first time, they're like excited to see each other. And then the only other thing is Vanya, played by Ellen Page, who was kind of a bad guy at the end of the first season. Bumps her head, has amnesia.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh man!
But it's really interesting. Everyone's off doing their own different things. Klaus accidentally starts up a religious cult, like a hippie cult. Diego has said his goal, now that he's back in the 60s, is to stop the Kennedy assassination. And Allison has gotten married to a civil rights worker. No, like a civil. Obviously, it's 1964. Civil rights movement is not great for black people at the moment, and she's trying to like push that forward. And they're all kind of scattered doing their own thing, and then they all get brought back together to try and stop the apocalypse. I really enjoyed it. I think in certain degrees it's better than the first season, but I think it's missing. In the first season, they had Mary J. Blige and Cameron Britton playing the two assassins chasing after, trying to stop the Umbrella Academy. There's no kind of replacement for them in the season. There is technically a replacement, but they're not quite as charismatic or as interesting. But there's other needles and threads that make up for it and that kind of thing. We have a nominee for the Cutie of the Year in this TV series. A young version of Pogo is in this series. Is one of the most adorable things you'll see this year. And yeah, really enjoyable. Sets up the stakes for a likely third season. That will have interesting ramifications. But yeah, I'm super keen for a season 3. Really enjoy the series. Yeah, really good. And then I also watched the new dance comedy on Netflix, Work It, starring Sabrina Carpenter, Liza Koshy, Kane Lonsdale, Jordan Fisher. Pretty much this girl called Quinn lies about her college application and makes the college person believe that she's part of a dance crew that she actually just does the lighting for. So in order to make sure she gets into college, she has to start her own dance crew. And hilarity ensues. It's a bunch of misfits working together to try and win the Work It dance competition. And there's the teen drama and romance and that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun, but it is very like forgettable. It's not gonna stick with you very long. None of the other there's barely any other of the other members of the Nance crew that get any sort of character development or character other than basic looks and stereotypes. But Liza Koshy is hilarious in this. She's probably the highlight of the film. And Keenan Lonsdale, who people would probably best know as Kid Flash from the Flash series, also was in Dance Academy in Australia. He plays like the villain, like the head top dancer on the like proper dance tick crew. And he's an interesting take on that. He kind of plays like the mean girl kind of role. And he's really good at it. Jordan Fisher, who we saw earlier this year in P.S. I Love You Still, I think that was the name of the movie. The All the Boys I Ever Loved Before sequel. He's in this. He's great. I would very much like to see him in more stuff because he's very charismatic. And I mean, the dancing in this is very good, but I don't think none of the big numbers really stand out. I don't think they're fantastic or anything. I think obviously this genre has been done. This kind of movie has been done a bunch of times before, so it's kind of hard to do something incredibly new and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's fine for what it is. I think it's like 90 minutes, so I think I was watching that while playing on my phone or something. So yeah, I would say watch it if you've got nothing else to do. All right, let's move into some film news. Oh yeah. So Mulan is going to be coming to Disney Plus. Walt Disney Company have made the unprecedented announcement that it will be releasing it on Disney Plus from September 4th, 2020. But you'll have to pay $30 American to access it, which I believe works out to be like $42 Australian. It will be bypassing cinemas everywhere except places that don't have Disney Plus, in which they'll be releasing it in theaters in those places potentially, assuming that theaters will be open. The $40 isn't a one-time rental. It kind of just unlocks it on the Disney Plus service for the next until I guess it would come out on Disney Plus, which would probably be like 12 months time. You can watch it as many times as you want. Then you get your $40
back.
Dylan, how do you feel about this? Is this a dangerous precedent?
Nah. I mean, I think the funniest thing about this is, like, lots of cinemas are going to be angry at Disney, but no one's going to step up to Disney like they'll step up to Universal.
Yeah, the AMC CEO or whatever was like, we understand why Disney decided to do this.
Mm-hmm. No one's willing to fight them.
About Trolls.
Yeah, exactly.
But I did see
$30 is steep.
I did see a French distributor like
I saw that
destroyed his like the big cardboard displays that they have at the cinemas. He like went to town on it and it became a bit of a viral hit.
And what was behind it? Tenet poster. That's coming to cinemas. Classic.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense to a degree because Americans can't see it in the cinema. But
yeah, I mean, I think the only like notable part of this, of course, is the fact that you have to have Disney Plus to do it. I'm of two minds of it. Like it's weird. It's you could kind of get angry at them for not just putting it on iTunes and Google Play and whatever else and charging the $30 for it there. But obviously, then they don't get a huge chunk of the change. They put it on their own streaming service that you need to subscribe to, and then buy. They're getting all of the money, literally all of the money. So they've really kind of guaranteed themselves a jackpot for this one, I think. There's no way they don't just make a fuck ton of money off Mulan doing it this way. Whereas I reckon
yeah, that's assuming everybody buys it.
People are going to buy it. People are stuck inside with kids going, oh my God, please, 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 please release a new movie. I have watched everything on Disney Plus. Anything but this, please help me. And Mulan comes out and they're going to go, thank Fucking God, $30. Take it. Fucking take it.
So that's like $30 Australian. So that
No,
means the price would be
42
like
Australian.
40 fucking hell. Jesus.
They're gonna get away,
That's,
they get away with it because they're gonna go, well, look, if there's 4 or 5 people in your household, really, it's not that much money. If you're only one
if you
person,
watch it like 5 times.
yeah, it's the price of a Blu-ray, but you don't really own it, so
No.
no,
That's just, it just seems a lot, I guess, is all for me for one movie instead of. But
it is a
I
lot.
guess, again,
I mean,
if you're watching, if you're watching it.
It's a lot, but I think out of all the movies that have done this, it is probably the biggest budgeted one that I can think of. That has released premium video on demand.
The thing for me is they haven't sat down and done a rough estimate of been like, okay, this is how much we need to make to recoup all the money we spent. This will be, we've done that configuration, that we've done that money, but then we've also kind of, which is business, but I'd love to know how much extra is on top of that price.
I mean, I think it would be better if it was just $30 in every country. It's $30 US. It's $30 Australian. It's $30 Canadian.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just a straight up $30.
I mean, in my opinion, it would have been better if they released it in cinemas as well. Like, give people the option to go see it in the cinema.
Yes.
1, you're helping cinemas, which you'll need in the future. 2, you'll get more money potentially from people who won't pay their $40-something because they're the only one to watch it, but they'll pay.
The thing is though, the
$15
people that quote unquote, the people that won't quote unquote pay it, if there's no other option, there's going to be a good percentage of those people that will cave and end up paying it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pay him. I'm going to pay, even though I'm complaining about it. But
even though you're complaining about it, I know I'll probably end up buying it because I'll be like, my mum and dad, I shared and stuff with them.
We'll put it as a tax write-off.
Yeah, if only.
We can do that, right?
I wish I could take that $42 though and just give that to the cinema and let them have a chuck a take
piece
of it.
You
know what I mean?
Because it's all going to Disney.
Yes, exactly. And I wish I had a say in this, but we don't have one. Whereas if they did what you said, where it's like, hey, the places that do have cinemas open and are able to do it, put the cinema, charge the same fucking price, whatever, but at least then the cinemas get a chunk of the massive Disney profit from this.
Yeah, hopefully it's like a one-off. I'd be interested to see what the numbers will be in the end. Because reading a lot of the comment sections, it was, looking forward to getting it on insert torrent site here the next day, which I feel is a sentiment felt by a lot of
people who were probably saying that we're just going to download a torrent of it, like a Cam Cinema one anyway.
No.
You
Nobody.
don't reckon?
No, I don't think so. I feel
was you about to say no one watches those?
No, I think a lot, like 50% of the market would probably wait for a better quality.
Well, you'd be surprised. I think people who pirate often get used to pirating to the point that you become so like used to just getting everything and you want for free that even if you're like, hey, that's $20 for that movie, it's like $20. Get the hell out of here! I ain't paying that. Like, I feel like the more you pirate, the worse you get at being accustomed to just getting what you want in life for free. So I reckon a lot of these people saying that are just like, we're going to pirate it anyway.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how this plays out in a few weeks. But it sounds like we'll be all paying $42 to watch Mulan. Keeping on Disney, apparently they're going to be abandoning all 4K releases of their catalog titles, including 20th century films. According to the Digital Bits, they heard that Disney does not have plans for future 4K Ultra HD catalog releases apart from Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel-related projects. The outlet says that Disney is abandoning 4K physical media in order to focus on building its new streaming service, Disney Plus, which apparently will upset fans who are hoping to get 4K editions of films like Fight Club, The French Connection, True Lies, Aliens, Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World, and many Searchlight pictures. Dylan, you're a holdout for physical media in 4K. Does this upset
I changed
you?
my mind. They can stick my $42 right up their fucking ass. No, I mean, there's not really much to say. It sucks. It's stupid. I don't know why the hell they're doing it. Like, what are we putting? Where are they putting Alien? Oh, hold out for Disney. Alien isn't going on Disney Plus. Master and Commander isn't going on Disney Plus. What? They're putting all this shit on Hulu. I don't have fucking Hulu. I don't want to pay. Like, just put the 4K discs out.
Blu-ray.
But the thing is, that's the thing where
don't bring that up. That's the
clearly,
same part of the argument.
No, but it is because clearly they're not selling enough 4K discs. There's always less 4K discs than there is.
I don't know what the numbers are, but I can almost guarantee that physical media as a whole is down now compared to 10 years ago. So yes, they're selling less 4K discs.
Yes. So why would they continue to give like the higher end stuff, which probably costs more to produce, they can just give the Blu-ray version to everybody?
So several years ago,
version.
many years ago, cinema, Hollywood was trying to basically delete film as an option to record on, like for cinema goers. And the person who saved film was actually Christopher Nolan, who teamed up with Kodak. That's right, Kodak. Teamed up with them, and basically put a lot of work into to help keep film around, so people who choose to record on film still do it. So most movies you watch are recorded digitally, because obviously digitally is fucking easier. It's way cheaper. And most people are like, well, why would I record on film? But there's a lot of people who still like film because it gives a certain look. In certain movies, it looks better. And there's just something you can hold, right? And that's my same cause for owning physical media. I'm all for the streaming age. Like, I love all these streaming services I'm signed up to, Disney Plus, Netflix, Shudder, whatever. Like, all these things we're talking about, they're all great. However, I think as much as we step into the new age, we can't just completely abandon physical media, because we'll eventually enter a scenario where, like video games have these days, where I'm reading about today, Forza Horizon 3 is just going to disappear off fucking online stores because they don't have the music rights are going to lapse. So then the game gets deleted, and the only way you can play it is if you buy it now, because then you'll own it forever and they can't take it away from you, or if you own a physical copy. Like, I don't want to enter an age where it's like, Master and Commander, can't watch that anymore because some weird license fuck up happened, and there's no physical edition around anymore because they didn't print one. You know, like, imagine new movies come out and they only put them on Disney Plus. There's never a physical edition. Then suddenly rights mess ups happen. They disappear off Disney Plus, and you're like, where do I watch the movie? Well, you can pirate it, or you can pirate it because there's no physical version to watch. You know? So I feel like there has to be always a place for physical media in some form or fashion.
But they're only discussing about getting rid of 4K. They're not talking about getting rid of physical media in general.
As far as I'm concerned, if they choose to get rid of, if they're not printing things on 4K, then, and the way they're talking about it, they're basically saying they're only going to print discs in general, Blu-ray and 4K for. That's where they'll end up.
Yeah, like just Blu-ray and DVDs.
No, they're not still printing DVDs, are they?
They're printing DVDs.
They are, sadly. They very much are.
They probably are.
Nobody can tell the difference.
So you don't have a fucking leg in this argument, Mr. fucking 720p TV over here.
But, like, the thing is that, like, it's more of a case of, for them, obviously, what is the cost of making and like to manufacture these discs?
It's not much
compared to how many they're actually selling. I
don't know. It's not much. I mean, discs are cheap. There's a reason it's a medium. Like, the discs are cheaper than VHS.
Are 4K discs cheap?
It's no dearer than a Blu-ray disc. Like, it's just a bigger.
Clearly, there's something different about it.
Yeah, they're a bit bigger. That's it.
Clearly, there's something different here, because if the matter of fact was that if Disney were making this decision and they could put 4K on a Blu-ray disc,
well, they can't, because it's Blu-ray disc doesn't hold the amount of data. I mean, it's still just a disc.
Clearly, there's a difference in disc price then.
Yeah, it's probably like $1 or $2 more expensive, probably. But it's still a disc. Like a disc's a disc. You know, like a
But anyway, most discs nowadays come with a download code.
yeah. Which I love. I reckon they should do that for everything.
What if instead of physical media, like physical discs, they start just offering download codes?
What? They just have download codes? Yeah, but what for what download service?
But not for a service though. For literally, you can just download that movie.
Oh, imagine that. Yeah, that ain't going to happen because then people will just stick them up on BitTorrent sites afterwards.
But the thing is,
For perspective,
go for it. Sorry.
the ticket price for Birds of Prey Blu-ray is $29.98. Ticket price for 4K is $36.98. So $7 up, but that includes the Blu-ray.
I mean, that's the retail price. You don't know what the actual manufacturing cost difference between a Blu-ray disc.
You know,
and a
but clearly
4K
there's
disc.
clearly for them, it's like, what's the point of us making two versions when one version isn't selling as much as the other version?
Yeah, stop selling the Blu-rays. Force everyone to step up. Right, the weak get deleted.
You can't do that.
No.
You can't.
Not in a world where people are still buying just DVDs.
Yeah, you can't cater for the minority in a situation like that.
When the DVD section is the biggest physical media section of the JB Hi-Fi, you might.
It's absolutely disgusting. I find it quite funny though that vinyl's seen a resurgence in the music industry at the moment. Like that shit went backwards and it's looped back around, and for like a reason of it looks great physically and it also sounds really good. The reason that it kind of tape took over from vinyl originally was because it was so much cheaper, even if it sounded a lot worse. But in the same factor, like, what is the best version of everything? It's 4K, but everyone's still like, it doesn't look that much better. So
because it doesn't.
I'll still buy my DVD.
I just don't think
you
we have
fucking blind. You need your glasses, Ash.
The
That's
technology to take advantage and to fully display 4K is not widely available enough for the mass public.
What, 4K TVs and stuff? They're everywhere. You go on the JB
everywhere,
Hi-Fi,
but
I
don't think everybody's
But
buying them.
does it mean that the mass majority of people can afford to go buy one?
I reckon everyone will have 4K TVs in the next couple of years. Anyone that's buying,
Yeah, probably because they're getting cheaper and cheaper. But
everyone that walks into a JB Hi-Fi now and is like, I want to buy a TV. All they have is 4K TVs there.
I doubt that. No way.
No way.
No, I call bullshit on that one, my friend.
What?
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bunch of people just going down to Kmart.
Just high def TVs.
Just Kmart or Big
cheap
W
ones.
big
I
screen
said JB
TVs.
Hi-Fi though.
Even JB Hi-Fi, not every TV at JB Hi-Fi will be 4K.
I mean, I'm
Some will
sure
be
in
8.
some. Yeah, well, there's some 8Ks.
First 8, some will be 8, but also there will be TVs that can't do 4K.
They'll just be HD, yeah.
They'll just be HD TVs.
I suppose it depends on your JB Hi-Fi, but I suppose if you live in a bumfuck town where you...
Even the Tasmanian Launceston bumfuck store of JB Hi-Fi,
No.
that won't. Tomorrow, you need to record yourself asking somebody at JB Hi-Fi for a non-4K
If they
TV.
do, it's hidden in the back, and it's like...
It's not, this is some fucking... you know you're wrong on this one.
No. Because
I
even
mean,
my pop,
I guess it
right?
depends on what size TV they want.
Current like talk, right? So my pop literally was here a week over the weekend, and he's trying to upgrade his TV, and of course he goes into JB or whatever, and all of a sudden he's getting pushed 4K TV because that's all they have.
So no. So there is literally a section. So I've just gone to the JB Hi-Fi.
I'm sure they have
website.
it on the website. Yeah.
Don't even go. I'm sure they'll have it on the website.
What? I'm sure they do.
What's your? What's your?
No, I can't say that.
You can't,
Let's not get too specific with the postcode.
I was going to say it out loud, and then I went, "That's a bad idea." So let's do that one. So I can just Google your postcode. It's fine. So if I look it up, just one of the random HD TVs, it's available for click and collect at the at your local store.
Okay, so it's in a warehouse at the back.
This is
I'm telling you, all they have on the show floor is fucking 4K TVs.
No, because they always have like the cheap.
They always have the
TVs
cheap ones that are on the shelf, like
Yeah, they have like the
Stacked
high
up
sense
on each other.
4Ks. They have high sense. What? Mike? No. My JB doesn't.
Yeah, no, there'll be cheap ones there. They'll be like they'll have a floor display of like a TV that'll be like $400,
It'd be like,
and it'll be just HD. It won't be 4K.
I forgot how we got here now.
I
We
mean,
got here because
in my opinion, this is a mistake.
In your opinion, you don't get a fucking say because
No,
you
no,
don't
no.
even care.
I'm agreeing with you. I think Disney should still be making 4Ks. Maybe not for everything, but like this seems like a collector's kind of.
You're not going to put
thing.
Alien on 4K?
Just-
like, how disgusting.
Yeah, just release it. Like do a special release every month or something. Like they've got the Criterion collection. You can do some sort of spin
I
on
wish
that.
we had the
Limited
Criterion
run.
collection here. Oh, damn.
Yeah, where you put out like 4K
Mm.
edition of like a very popular movie, and then maybe even make it a limited edition thing, and then a bunch of people will pay top dollar for that. I mean, you'll still be able to get all your Disney, Marvel, Star Wars stuff in 4K. So I mean, it's not everything. I think it's obviously older stuff that you won't be able to get in 4K. But do you really
I
need to
started-
see Alien in 4K?
Yes. I started buying 4K before I even had a 4K TV because the discs started coming out, right? But they had the Blu-ray in the case and it was only $10 more. And I'm like, well, I might as well future-proof.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
some
the
people
future,
aren't like that,
the future
Dylan.
screwed you over.
No.
The future has no. What about? Sorry. How were you then in that era where there existed Blu-ray and HD DVDs?
I wasn't that early of an adopter, obviously.
But no. But say if you were back then, you had adopted HD DVDs, and all of a sudden they went, nah, fuck
No,
it, Blu-ray's one on
Blu-
this
Blu-
one, boys. Blu-ray one. Everybody needs a Blu-ray player, and you need to rebuy all these movies.
Because I've seen like HD video out and about at secondhand stores and stuff, and I feel like if I had been like an early adopter of any of those things that it kind of lost, depending, as long as I didn't spend thousands of dollars buying,
But you would have.
I don't know if you could. Like, I don't know if there was enough out to spend.
There
much money.
was
don't know.
because they were expensive then.
Yeah, I mean, I know
Like
they're
when
expensive.
Blu-rays and HD
They're like
DVDs were
$45
like they
a
were
piece.
Yeah,
45.
but I mean, like,
and depending on the movie, the better movies costed more.
yeah, but like realistically, even if I was an early adopter, I wouldn't have brought like hundreds of movies, right? So at most, I would have probably brought like a couple of movies. Like, I mean, realistically, I don't have
it
the
was out for
money
long
here.
enough. Wait,
Look,
If it
you
was
earn
out-
double what I do. I don't have the money.
but you have way more DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4K movies than I do.
Yeah, but I'm saying like realistically, when HD video and Blu-ray come out, that
No, but I'm talking hypothetically. Say if now, like hypothetically, if you had the ability to buy them, and you bought into HD DVD,
yeah.
you'd be fucked. You'd be screwed.
Well, hypothetically, if the money's not an issue, then it wouldn't matter, would it? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm saying, like, if you're in your hypothetical version where money doesn't matter, then obviously,
Not that money doesn't matter, but you have enough money to have bought everything that you wanted to buy
Yeah, but that's what I'm
in
saying.
terms of
Does-
the HD.
But that doesn't affect me if I run out of money.
But I'm just saying.
I'm saying, like,
bad luck.
in my version,
You are-
if let's say I brought like 5 to 10 HD videos or some shit like that, I feel like I honestly wouldn't have not cared because I'm the type of person who, if I'd only brought like 5 to 10, I would have just held on to them as collector's items. Like, it wouldn't have bothered me majorly. Like, I kind of actually am jealous that I wasn't part of something like that because I feel like it's kind of being part of well, you're part of history. Like, you're on the losing side. You're on a very few number of people who were on the losing side. And I feel like that's a story to tell. Like, I would have actually enjoyed being part of the losing team.
All right. Well, buy your 4K Blu-rays while you can. I guess.
Because you're on the losing team, bitches!
the war isn't over yet. I mean, it's
Oh.
only Disney. Admittedly, they are the biggest company in the entire world, but other places will be releasing 4K Blu-rays. You'd assume
It's
because
by just digital.
buy it 4K digital. I guess I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
He's
announced-
hugging his 4K DVDs.
It's
You
all right.
can just sit
They're
there
not
and-
going to come and take them from you.
That's fine. Just gently whisper to them that it's okay. You're not getting any more
The
brothers and
Great
sisters
Gatsby, you're
any-
beautiful.
from Disney.
Allied
Disney
starring Brad
brothers and
Pitt, you're beautiful. the girl and the spiders were Paddington 2 on 4K. Come on, Ash. You coming to the dark side or what?
He looks pretty good on Netflix.
In 4K, because if you want.
Yeah, so this week, almost 10 years after Tron Legacy was released, Disney is going back to the Tron well, and it was announced that Lion director Garth Davis is going to be making a Tron sequel, headlined by Jared Leto. Jared Leto posted on Twitter, "I'm struck with gratitude for the opportunity to bring this movie to life, especially as both the original video game and the film affected me so deeply as a child. The fact I'm going to be a part of this new chapter is mind-blowing. I'm very proud to confirm that yes, I will be starring in Tron. We'll be work as hard as we possibly can to create something that I hope you all will love. We have some very special ideas in store for you all. See you in the grid." He also initially, instead of calling it Tron 3, which is the current working title, he called it Tron Ares, before deleting it quickly. So, are you keen for another Tron? Is it third time lucky? Obviously, the initial first movie did not do well financially. The second one did make $400 million US at the box office on a $170 million budget, so it did reasonably well, but was not particularly well received. Either of you care for Tron?
I like Tron.
like the original.
I enjoy the world and everything, the vibe of Tron. I watched the original when I was younger, and I enjoyed it a lot more than when I watched it when I was older, because obviously you realize it looks like absolute garbage. I saw Legacy or whatever the hell it's called in cinemas. It's not very good. The best part of it is Daft Punk in the movie, and also the soundtrack, which is the best part of it. Classic Daft Punk work. That's one of those things where it's like someone made a soundtrack and it overshadows the entirety of the film, because I would listen to the soundtrack over and over, but I've only ever watched the movie once, I think. So yeah, who gives a fuck? And in fact, Tron's part in Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably better than actually Tron the movie. So there you go. Good on you, Kingdom Hearts. Am I keen for Jared Leto in a Kingdom Hearts? Oh, sorry. imagine that. Am I keen for
Jared Leto
Tron.
playing Riku? Yeah.
Fanfic. I'm not keen for this. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I don't see it. I don't see it adding up. Like, yes, was Lion a good movie? Yes. Do I see that adding up to directing Tron? No. Is Jared Leto a good actor? Yes. Do I see him in Tron? No. I don't see the director or actor like ticking boxes. Now, they can all prove me wrong, but you ask, like, I'm looking at it at nothing and going like, I don't see how the dots add up to the I's, add up to the T's, add up to the Rons. Wesley, you fucker.
Wow. Ciaran, how do you feel about Tron?
I like the original. Tron Legacy was bad. It was just all over bad. That movie was down from, the general writing for it, down to Kurt Russell's creepy face. I don't know. It feels weird.
Again.
Is it not Kurt Russell? Is it not Kurt Russell? Why? I do this every time.
Jeff Bridges.
I even just...
I feel like
we've had this... Googled this.
I feel like we've had this discussion before.
We have. What? You know what? I fucking Googled it as well. And it came up. I Googled Tron Kurt Russell, and it comes up with the pictures. Why?
Because you looked up
somebody
Tron.
else in the world. Well, it's
one
okay.
is the dude, man, and one isn't. So
one Santa.
Well, I fucked that up again. But Jeff Bridges looks weird in Legacy. It feels weird, this movie coming out in a world where we now have the movie version of, say, like Ready Player One and stuff, which is kind of the very similar premise in many ways. Of having a digital world, so screw it. Sure, I don't expect much from it.
You know what though? Shout out to Tron Legacy because I fell in love with Olivia Wilde in that movie. So
Really, that was the
that
one.
movie? That was what? Did you not watch the Terminator series that she was in, or?
what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you talking about?
I don't think she was in any Terminator series.
Fuck! I get it mixed up again. I'm so bad with actors. They look so similar. Fuck!
Wow, all white people look the same.
I like it, but even then, you're like, is that the one? And I'm scrolling backwards through what she did. I'm like, what, 13 episodes of the OC?
That's where it was
and
made.
Alpha, really?
I'm just.
See, I didn't watch the
House.
OC. I didn't watch OC.
I'm not.
I didn't
I'm
watch.
done. I'm done on this show.
I didn't watch any of these things. So she did that. She did a couple bit roles. 13 year one, and this was surely Tron's the movie she took
2010.
off on.
Okay.
Come on. Yeah, okay. Thank
Well,
you.
took
Yeah.
off is a strong word, but
You know, like, yeah, she took off in that. She's great in that. And I loved watching her in the Sarah Jono Chronicles after that on TV. It was fucking fantastic. Absolutely shout outs.
Which
I love when
person
she was
are
in
you
Game
confusing
she was
her
in
with?
Game of Thrones too, right? Like she
Oh,
went
don't
from
even-
Sarah
no,
Jono
no.
Chronicles to
did you confuse
Game
her
of
with,
Thrones.
Did you actually confuse her with Lena Headey?
Shame.
No.
Ding ding.
No.
Shame. Ding ding.
I certainly
Shame.
hope it wasn't
Ding,
Summer Glau.
It probably was Summer Glau.
Ah, now it's
It was
racist.
indeed Summer Glau. It was indeed Summer Glau.
Okay.
I just have a. Just leave me alone.
I mean, Olivia Wilde was great in Firefly, so
Fuck.
Loved her in Dollhouse.
Dollhouse, great. I'd be keen for a Tron movie. I think obviously they can do an even better job than they probably did with Tron Legacy, digitally, effects wise. Obviously, it sounds like they're not doing like a direct sequel. They're just setting it in the same world, so that gives them a bit more creative freedom. But yeah, obviously Tron is a property that they haven't capitalized on, despite like a cult following for that film and that franchise. Even apparently the TV series that they did, the animated series,
The animated one?
Yeah, apparently that was very good.
That was actually
Yeah.
good. I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, got cancelled too soon apparently. So yeah, I'm be keen to check this out. So Tron coming maybe sometime in the future.
2026.
I mean, let's be honest, if it actually gets made, because there's a lot of things to get announced and they never happen. So
You know where you can make movies without diseases? Inside the web of webs. That's right.
okay.
The interwebs.
Interesting piece of news surrounding the Emmys. They're going to be breaking the Creative Arts Emmys into not one, not two, but 5 different ceremonies. So from Monday, September 14th through to Thursday, September 17th, on the Emmys website, they were presenting a bunch of different Emmy awards to creative elements of the Emmys. And then on Saturday, September the 19th, they'll be doing a mixture of awards that they'll be presenting on FXX in America. So it'll be like bunch of... So the first night, there'll be reality and not fiction shows. Second night's variety. Third night is scripted, and the fourth night is also scripted. And then the fourth night, the fifth night, they'll be doing like a mixture of all the different things. Apparently, it's all going to be technically pre-recorded, so there shouldn't be any hitches. But, I mean, interesting that they've decided to go this route. I mean, at least people might actually watch some of the creative Emmys this year.
Is it still going to be on TV here? Can I still watch it?
I doubt it, but again, like I said, the first 4 nights will be on the Emmy website, so...
But
I'd assume
is it going to
everybody-
cock block me? Like,
I
you can't watch
I
this.
don't know.
wrong-
It doesn't say in the
Oh,
article.
you know, that used to shit me up the fucking wall. They used to be like, you can't watch this in the wrong region. I'm like, it's a fucking award show. Just let me watch it. Who gives a fuck? Like, why are you region locking an award show? Fuck off.
That's true. But if it isn't cock blocking you, would you be interested in checking?
I
Yeah,
mean,
right,
I
sir.
guess it depends. Yeah, I kind of hate it though, to be honest. Yeah, let's be real. Let's break it down. I kind of hate it.
You would
I
prefer them to
understand-
award 100 and something awards in one night?
Well, they never do that. They have the ones that are pre and after and the night before that they do little flashbacks to. So they never do them all in one show.
No, but
I mean,
they do all the creative arts Emmys in one go. Like everything except
I
the
would
prime time.
prefer to watch a 3-hour show than a bunch of 25-minute shows. You know? Let me just get it done. Rip that Band-Aid off.
I don't know.
That's what Emmys are.
I feel like this is a better opportunity, especially in a time when there is not much new content being released.
There's heaps.
There's more of an opportunity of people watching these.
What are you talking about? I've got all these things to watch now. Kieran's telling me about the TV show where he's dating the robot or whatever anime the fuck was happening. I've got to watch that now. Like Attack on
You can't fit in half an hour for like 4 nights in a row.
No, schedule's full, mate. Fuck off. Go home.
I wish it was true that Dylan was watching all this anime. I wish.
No, I'll watch it though. Let's be real. I'll watch it. Let's not lie.
Yeah. Ciaran, will you be watching the Creative Arts Emmys this year? No.
No.
You'd be lucky if you watched the primetime ones.
Yes, true.
You know?
I might tune in for like the last night because
yeah, I feel like that's the one
night's
you
the
definitely won't be able to
important
watch. But you know,
one.
yeah, you'll probably be able to watch it on Twitter or something, or clips on YouTube.
I don't know why they don't embrace, Twitch and YouTube. And just,
I mean, maybe get an Emmys Twitch channel.
Twitch isn't even embracing
There's so
Twitch.
much stuff on Twitch.
Why has
currently.
Twitch changed the Amazon Prime shit to Twitch Gaming? Like it's kind of
it's called
Prime
Gaming Prime or something, or
Prime
Prime Gaming.
yeah, no, but like
It's-
people stream more
so-
than games, right? So
But you're still getting
But
the same
it's
thing.
Prime.
yeah, I know, but
It's just making it a part of Prime instead.
No,
of
but the
having to pay
rewards
for
are
it.
Prime Gaming.
Mm.
So all the unlockable
You get
stuff
more-
is part of Prime Gaming.
You just get a bonus Twitch membership out of it at the same time. They removed all the cool stuff out of Twitch Prime ages ago. You don't, skip ads anymore with it or anything like that.
I can't keep up. I just pay for it for Amazon, so I don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah,
just one of
like
those things where it's like,
99% of the country, or the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, free shipping.
free shipping. Seeing as we mentioned twitch.com/Explosion Network. If you've got Amazon Prime, you've got a free Twitch subscription.
Chuck us a-
You can just hit that subscribe button for a month. Every month. Please, and thank you.
month. Where do you
Please.
think you're going?
All right, let's move into what did we end up watching. Ciaran, what did we end up watching?
Well, you know what? It's been, I think last time I picked a movie with real people in it. So this time I was like, let's go back to the world of Japan. Let's do a Japanese classic, Akira, a movie I've never seen.
夢を聞いたの。
夢
人がいっぱい死んで、私たちはもう一度アキラくんに会ったの。
アキラ
ブラウンのやつらを感情拷問に追い込んだぜ。
我々が変えるのではない。アキラを望む人民が変えるのだ。
もうよせ鉄を殺す気か。
俺に命令すんな。
あの力には触れてはならんのかもしれんな。
Yes, Akira, the 1988 film directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, starring Mitsuo Uwada, Hazumu Satsuki, Mami Koyama, Taro Ishii, Mitsuru Suzuki, and Tetsuo Genda.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. A secret military project endangers Neo Tokyo when it turns a biker gang member into a rampaging psychopath who can only be stopped by 2 teenagers and a group of psychics. Ciaran, you just said you've never watched this film before. Dylan, this is like one of your favorite animated films of all time, right?
Yes. I'm more interested in hearing what you say, but my one setup comment that I feel will help me like kind of set up the room here is I watched this before I'd watched any other proper anime, unless you want to count like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and random shit that everyone watched as kids, right? So I watched this very early into my anime journey. Like I watched this after Death Note, basically, like very early in my getting into anime. So I feel like that one of this movie's problems in 2020 is that it may not be as impressive because there's lots of things that you have watched that have been influenced by this. And that means when you watch this retrospectively, you're like, well, this just reminds me of this, but it's actually the opposite direction. You know what I mean? So, but otherwise, I think this is a brilliant movie. I think it's one of the old-time classic, not just anime movies, but sci-fi tales in general. I think this kind of set up the precedent for anime being more than just like cartoons. Like this movie has political undertones to do with World War and all these sorts of things. It's got these really cool characters. It's one of the most influential movies on a lot of filmmakers, even from like a design point or even like character point. Absolutely killer fucking soundtrack that I absolutely adore. It's just one of the all-time classics. I've watched it many, many times. I own 3 copies of it, and I would buy a 4K one if they released it here. I'm just saying, if they released the fucking 4K.
Okay, with that set up, Ciaran, what'd you think of Akira?
I really enjoyed it. I went into this movie completely blind. Like, all I knew about this movie was that there were motorbikes. Well, literally all I really had any information about. And the motorbikes are very kind of minimal in this movie in terms of the opening set piece is really fun and really awesome. And where it goes, it was one of the things where I started watching this and I was not... Like, it had like 80% of my attention, but it didn't have everything. I was doing something else at the time. And then I stopped what I was doing so I could keep up with what the hell was going on with just this kind of... These political riots that were going on, these weird, like, alien-looking kids, just everything. And I don't think... I didn't have that problem that you were insinuating, Dylan, because I approached this in the sense of reverence almost, in terms of this animated movie kind of has a big part in history to play for how popular anime is and for animated movies. The fact that this is all done by hand, this is all hand animated, is fucking amazing. It's so good. Some of the smoothness in the detail that's in this movie is really good. Like, even just stuff down to blood effects in this movie. I did not expect there to be the amount of blood that there is in this movie. But I think it's used so interestingly. There's like moments where blood is almost iridescent in its color palette, where it like shines throughout the scene, where other times it's a lot more dulled. I thought this was it's almost like a piece of art watching this, and I really enjoyed it. The soundtrack was awesome and really helped with pulling you into the movie and into the piece itself. I just had a great time watching it overall.
Okay. I probably liked it less than both of you. I think it looks great. The world building is great in this film. It's a very full, interesting world. I don't think the story is overly interesting by today's standards. I feel like I've seen similar kind of stories told, obviously better, influenced by this. I feel like it kind of does go a bit off the rails towards the end. Like, it just goes batshit crazy, which is fine. But there's a lot of not explanations in this, which is kind of frustrating. I'd probably, if I read into the lore of Akira more, I probably understand it more. I feel like some of the character motivations are kind of odd.
Well, are we going into spoilers so you can say your proper complaints?
Yeah, I guess we can. I mean, yeah, again, the music's really good. And character designs. It is obviously not a modern style of animation. Like the faces are quite weird and fat. I guess would be the term that comes to mind. They're quite wide. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I can respect it, but I don't think it's. I've seen people call it a masterpiece and 10 out of 10 movie. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. But we can get into spoilers. And I'll tell you what, Canada's ready to kill his friend real quick. He's like,
is he though?
I'm going to start shooting you with a laser real quick.
But I feel like he has that intention to kill him, but he's not 100% in that. Like he doesn't believe it. Like he's very quick to stop doing it as soon as he thinks
it's not as stop as
I'm
it
actually
fails.
hurting my friend. No, but as soon as he starts actually hurting his friend, you can see that he isn't fully into it. Like he's angry because I guess he'd be conflicted because he's killed so many people that he's killed another one of their friends, and it's like he's angry about that, but at the same time, this is this kid that he's grown up for and kind of protected all of his life. It's kind of a duality to his kind of intentions there.
I also feel like when you see someone that has those kind of powers, you're probably a bit more braver to just shoot willy-nilly because you're like, they can probably survive a couple shots to the face, probably. Look, so
yeah, that's my major concern.
That's your major criticism.
I'm like,
that's your criticism. That there is.
No, I feel like there's obviously story. It's kind of starts off very slow, and then the Tetsuo storyline starts up, and then that's kind of one note. He's crazy. He gets crazier as it goes along. It's not, and then I feel like
he's not really crazy.
A lot of explanation is like back ended, and
he's a kid who's grown up, always wanting to be as brave and tough as his friend who's protected him his whole life. So look, let me put it this way. Chronicle?
Yes.
Chronicle's this. That's this movie, right?
Chronicle, yeah.
And you know what else this is? Another one that a lot of people know? Stranger Things. Stranger Things is this movie. Like there's so many things and so many stories that movies, TV shows that people have watched that are just Akira influenced that you wouldn't even know about watching this movie. And they do it in different ways, sure. But as someone who's watched this, every time I watch any of these sorts of things, it's like, well, that's influenced by that. That's influenced by that. Like it's very evident.
The only thing you could tell me is like, if you sat me down like after I watched the movie and said, okay, explain like the supernatural kids to me.
They're
explain
experiments.
What you know and understand, I'd be like, they were kind of put in this position and trained to be kids, and they trained to be these things, and they mutated. I don't know. I don't get
the
it.
movie doesn't give you all the explanations, but I don't think you need it. Like the core setup is the movie starts with an explosion that tells you that sets off World War III. By the end of the movie, you find out that explosion was caused by Akira. They tell you that Akira died with said explosion. The army doctors have been experimenting on other kids who have had similar sorts of powers. Where and who and what and how is quite similar to Stranger Things in that who the fuck really knows, but doctors are experimenting on these kids, and they've got random numbers assigned to them, like the girl has like number 23 and like all these other ones. Obviously, Stranger Things, she's called 11. Like there's so many influences to that. And then by the end of the movie, it's very easy to kind of overlook the ending. Like, and obviously the ending doesn't give you answers to everything, but more or less it kind of hints at the idea that Akira survived and he kind of is in his own universe or a different universe or something like that. And that's what happens to Tetsuo as well, because they make sure the movie ends with him saying whatever his line is, like, I am Tetsuo, or like he says some sort of line, like he's talking over it, but he's disappeared from one plane and kind of transcended to another. So you can interpret it in many different ways. Like he's made his own universe. He's transcended to become a god. He's, like there's different ways. He went to the upside down. Yeah, like there's many different ways to kind of
What's
look
that
at it.
Scarlett Johansson one? Alice, was it? I can't remember.
No.
That was weird.
Limitless?
Scarlett Johansson.
You sure it was Scarlett Johansson?
I'm positive it was Scarlett Johansson.
Well, I mean, obviously, this whole movie was written and made early.
Talking
80s.
about her?
Oh, it's the one where she's like a supernatural being. And she gets infected with a whole bunch of
Yeah,
stuff.
her.
Under the skin?
Oh, Under the Skin, yeah.
Yeah.
She's an alien in that, I believe. It's the go-to. No, yes,
She's a mobile phone.
yes, she's a mobile.
And she goes to another
Yeah,
plane.
she's the mobile phone. Sorry, it's the mobile phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, what a roller coaster!
Wow.
What a roller coaster!
My memory, just write it off. Just write the show off. Show's done. Close it out. We're done here.
Yeah, but the movie was obviously written in a certain time, and it's
Lucy! No, it's fucking Lucy.
No,
Sorry,
we're done.
I've just
We
checked it out.
can't- we
It's
can't-
Lucy.
no.
It's Lucy. Is the
I
one
mean,
with Scarlett Johansson.
Technically, it's all of them. But let's move on. Keep going.
It's the other thing that stood out while watching this is again a Studio Ghibli plug. There's several of those Studio Ghibli movies where it felt like obviously, and we talk about and discuss how we're missing like some sort of key context or like we're not fully understanding it. And I feel like this movie was and is written in response to the war, and not to say that it's that's evident. That's like a big part of the story. However, I feel like again, this movie was being made, and maybe at Japanese people, like hits more at home, I guess, when it released in the early 80s, potentially for people kind of thing. I don't know. Like again, the themes hit or miss depending on who you're going, but that's a big part of the main plot is the war and then all the civil rights kind of stuff that's happening in response to what's happening within the movie. And then the other thing I was going to say is that the opening scene, although it kind of sets up like a gang movie and then it becomes a sci-fi movie, that opening scene's still one of my favorite opening scenes of any movie, animated or not, ever. I absolutely love how it kicks in and has all those great neon shots of the cyberpunk city, which is just like obviously super influential on a lot of things. And then the way that music kicks in, and they have the great, even that part where they have the shot of the clown biker dude and he's just like sitting there and it clicks to that score where it's like just got the boom boom, like it's really like cool. Yeah, love it. And the weird thing about the music in this movie as well is it kind of goes through heaps of different weird genres and just kind of goes in directions you wouldn't expect for a anime film. Like it's kind of just all over the place, but in a really good way. Good shit.
So, of course, a live action American version has been talked about for a long time. Currently working on it is Taika Waititi. Do you think this could actually work in live action? Not do you want it to, but could it? Because some stuff in the third act.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is that final act, and obviously some of that may be hard to do. And obviously special effects have come a long way, so anything's sort of possible. I was totally against this movie for a long time because I didn't trust Hollywood with it. I think I would trust Taika with it because I don't think he would whitewash the fuck out of this to just turn it into some cyberpunk bullshit movie and completely miss the point of it. Like this is a Japanese movie, so it needs to stay there. It doesn't need to be like, oh, suddenly it's set in fucking San Francisco for the 2030 Olympics.
I don't know. Do
like,
you set it in 2019 though, in this alternate universe?
I don't think it honestly matters. Like you can still just set it in the same fucking year. I feel like people underestimate how smart audiences are just to go like, yes, it's set in the same year, but obviously alternate timeline where World War III is kind of kicked off. Like it doesn't matter. Just set it wherever. But I think it's not really the year that matters. It's the fact that it is set in Tokyo and a lot of the plot revolves around war kicking off because of an explosion that happens in Japan that kicks off World War III, and that writing from that point of view. Like, I feel like if you Americanize this, you're really missing the point. It's similar to me as Godzilla. Like, of course, the original American remake of Godzilla completely missed the fucking point. Like, Godzilla's about nuclear war, and they just turned it into Jurassic Park, you know? So if you're going to do that, just make Jurassic Park. If you want to make a cyberpunk movie with cool bikes, go make Tron, you know? So don't do this if that's all you care about is the cyberpunk city, the cool bikes, that sort of thing. You're kind of missing the point, because as we're kind of discussing, that's how the movie starts. But this is a fucking super sci-fi crazy movie. So yeah.
Ciaran, what do you think? Would you be keen to check out a live action version of Akira?
Possibly. I think it just depends on the overall casting and writing and what they're actually doing it for, and how much kind of reverence and attention are they going to pay to the original, like Dylan's already said. I think it kind of needs some kind of respect for the original story and the desire to want to retell that in a real live action way, rather than, just liking the aesthetic of the movie itself.
I think probably the only thing is, I don't think they would make just one film. I feel like they would stretch it out to at least 2.
I think that's fine, because I feel like you could. I feel like as long as here's how you do it, right? So if you want to stretch it out and you spend more time focusing on introducing our characters in the first film, and you focus on, like, obviously more of the gang stuff, as long as you don't super hide the sci-fi shit until the second film, as long as you can still intertwine that, either cutting to the army or hints at it or something like that, you know what I mean? So, I mean, obviously, if you want to compare it to Stranger Things, starts out, we know there's some slight teasers of weird shit, but 11 doesn't use her powers, I don't think, until like more than halfway through the season kind of thing. So you can do that sort of thing for the first film, because then obviously the second film would be, you'd expect it to focus a lot more on the hardcore sci-fi shit. So as long as you don't hide that, yeah.
Which would make sense, and they've got more material to grab from, because the film
manga
was based on a manga, and they condensed it a lot to make it down to a 2-hour film. To the extent that they're currently working on a series that may or may not ever come out that does the full manga. But yeah, that's Akira, and that brings us to the end of this episode of What Do You Want to Watch? Thank you very much for listening. If you want to check us out on the Twitters, you can go to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter, find us all there, or you can just go to explosionnetwork.com to see our news, reviews, other podcasts, all that great content. You can send us an email at mail@explosionnetwork.com and help us out. Leave us a review either on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser or on Twitter, or tell a friend about the podcast. Tell them how badly Ciaran is with actors. Like atrocious, and how fun it is to listen to us all baffled. Baffled, I say.
I'm just going to start Googling stuff before I say it anymore on this episode.
That's why I always have
No, that didn't work the first time, did it?
Damn it.
All right, thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.